Well, hello, everybody. Excited to join you and share a big announcement. We have very exciting news in our region and for our region. And Mike Dickey, many of you know Mike has been a longtime Open Bible ministers, planted a church in Wilmington, North Carolina. He and his wife, his family, their team years ago, and God has been stirring in their heart the last year and a half and leading them to plant again in the New Orleans, Louisiana area. And you're getting just an abbreviated introduction to this. There's been a long process of the Lord speaking to them scouting the area, making a formal proposal to our regional board, the board approving it. And so you're not getting all those details. Other than that, the Lord has worked throughout this, and we're so excited for our new church. And I believe the first church in that area for Open Bible, it's called Or City Church. And Mike, why don't you tell us what everybody's wondering? What does the word "or" mean?
Yeah, no. So the word "or" um, came to me in a time of prayer with the Lord, and I felt the Lord tell me to go research the Hebrew word for light. And so I went and looked up the Hebrew word for light, and it was "or." And so "or" means light. It's the light that we see in Genesis when God brought the light into the darkness. It's the light that we read about in the New Testament, that He is the light of the world. Um, so we thought it was so fitting, but there's like a secondary meaning to it as well. So it's the light, but it also means to bring order into chaos. And and so we thought immediately we knew that that was going to be the name of the church, was going to be Or City Church. Shining the light in the darkness and bringing order into chaos.
Hmm. Well, that's an interesting word, especially when people think of New Orleans. I think everybody has sort of a preconceived idea of the city of New Orleans.
Yeah.
It's known for a number of things.
Mhm.
I think you used darkness and chaos in there, but I know you've not only scouted that area, you moved there about, I want to say, maybe 5, 6 months ago. So you've
Yeah.
been there with boots on the ground. Maybe take a minute and tell us some of the things you've learned about that community now that you've lived there, you've experienced it for a bit. Um, what have you learned about that city and why it needs a church right now?
Yeah. Um, yeah. So when we first came here, um, I don't think we recognized everything at first. I think the Lord gently let us come here and just experience the goodness of the city first. People know about New Orleans, that it's a foodie place, and I can attest that the food's amazing. It's a vibrant place. There's things that are always happening. Um, but I think we quickly learned that there is a darkness kind of looming over the city. Um, it's very evident that this city it has a darkness. I explain to people that a lot of places deal with sin. We know that the world is fallen and that a lot of places deal with sin, but our city celebrates sin. And I think that's the one thing that has been just very eye opening for us, is that we live in a city that openly celebrates sin. And it's kind of crazy to me, how normalized sin and crime are in our city. New Orleans is the murder capital of America right now. Um, and the crazy thing about it, it's just kind of become like a norm. Like it's like a thing in passing now, where it's not like even big news anymore. It's just kind of like this is the city. Um, and then the celebrations that take place here. I won't get into great detail about that, but just the celebrations that take place here, it's celebrations that revolve around celebrating sin. That's kind of why Mardi Gras was invented was a time before Lent when you come and repent, that it was a time of going and, living it up, going out and just celebrating sin. And then you have a time of coming back to, Ash Wednesday of repenting. But I think that was the biggest thing that we've been learning about this city, is that there really is a spiritual darkness here, that is looming over this city. And there is such a great need for light, and that light being Jesus, to come and just shine in the darkness, to show people that there's hope. I think there's so many people that are caught up in the darkness that want to escape it, but they don't know how. And they really need just love and light and hope to be shown to them, that there is something better for them.
Yeah, amen. I love how fitting the name of the church is and what it means, and the
Yeah.
context in which you're planning there in New Orleans. I think that's a prophetic identity from the Lord. Another question I know people wonder about. Okay, so how does this work? What's the timeline? And you know this as well as anybody. The process of planting is a fluid process. So maybe though, give us a bit of a timeline or picture of the plan, the strategy, any particular benchmarks that you're looking at. When can we expect to see the emergence of the church in that community?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, so like where we're at right now is we've kind of laid a foundation, but we're going to begin our fundraising process. And so we'll be working really hard on that over the next several months. We'll probably over the next couple months start, just a small Bible study in our house. I know we have a few people that are interested in that, and so we'll probably start a Bible study, begin having dinners with people. But when things really begin to take off, will become more in the fall area. When fall approaches, we're projecting. We lay out plans, but we know the Lord. The Lord has His own ways, and so as we make our plans, we always adjust to what the Lord wants. But right now, what we're projecting is that come September, October time, that we'll begin our launch meetings. We'll begin really making an initiative for that. Really beginning to do some outreaches in the community. We'll probably do some of those in the summer, but we'll really start to make an effort for that in the fall time, going into the winter time. And so we'll be doing our launch meetings, building our launch team. And then we're projecting to launch in March of 2024. So in about 11 months is when we're projecting to actually open up the doors of Ore City Church. But that process will really begin to start now with our fundraising, slowly building our team, and then in the fall time, really making that big push for our team to start to grow, meeting regularly, doing outreaches regularly, and then hopefully launching in March of 2024.
That's awesome. I love
Yeah.
that even already in the short amount of time that you guys have been there, that the Lord's opening doors and stirring hearts and showing you things. And
Amen.
I know the region, our wonderful prayer team, led by Sister Diary Francis, has been praying for this, and many others have been, I know. But I want to take a minute before we end this interview, and I want to encourage anybody that's listening to this to be a part of helping provide the initial startup costs for this beautiful church plant. There's something about being a part of something after it's established, but being a part on the very front end of something it's exciting. It's fueled with faith, and it'll also be a huge encouragement to the Dickies, to their team that's beginning work here. And so you may wonder, how can I give? What can I do? Well, first of all, you can be praying for this family, pray protection, pray for the Lord's favor in every way, pray that the Lord will raise up and bring the right people in this really key moment. But you can give financially to help with all the initial startup costs that a
Yeah.
church plant needs. And in many ways, it's very similar to when a young family has a new baby and they need diapers and food and clothes and a stroller, all those things that they need. A church is very similar, and we want to help with the startup costs for or city church. And probably the primary way to do that is through the Open Bible donate page. If you go to the national website, there is a link specifically for Or City Church, New Orleans, Louisiana, and you can give, and whatever you give is going to help with those startup costs. And I believe that link is going to be set up here quickly. So you just go to Open Bible /donate, and you can look at Southeast region. And then secondly, I'm going to ask every church, every pastor in our region to look at the month of September and to pick a Sunday during that month where you can either give from your general fund or take a love offering to help bless this new church. They're a part of our ministry family here in the region. And so I'm asking every church to give something and to look at that month of September as a way to help infuse some energy for this new work. And together we can be a part of something here that the Lord is going to do. It's exciting. I'm excited. I know our regional board is excited about this. But the Dickies were excited about it before the rest of us. And they're the ones that by faith stepped out, left the comfort of their home and moved to a place that's dark, that's chaotic. You heard Mike explain that, believing that God was going to plant a new church in a place that desperately needs it. So if you're watching this, I just once again want to encourage you, be praying for them, get excited for them. But most of all, look for an opportunity to give. You can do it in September with our region, or you can do it as soon as that link shows up on the national website. Otherwise, thank you everybody for watching this video, and stay tuned. We'll be sending out updates. I know Mike and Kayla will send out updates as well through social media and different things to let you know how the church is progressing from here. All right.
Amen.
God bless.
God bless. Thank you, guys.